Hello, and welcome to the third Yoga and Social Justice Community Meeting. On Sunday, February 2nd, we held a Yoga and Social Justice Community Meeting on the second yama, truth. First, a bit of a recap. In previous meetings, we've discussed how yoga is an 8-limb practice, and the 8 limbs of yoga are the yama and niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. They are often depicted as a tree, with the yama and niyama illustrated as the roots, asana as the trunk, pranayama as the leaves, and pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi the upper limbs of the tree. In particular, we've been studying the yama and niyama together. As a reminder, Chip Hartfrant and his translation of the Yoga Sutras pointed out to us that the yama and niyama must not be thought of as moral commandments, but rather as skillful ways to relate to the world without adding to its suffering or ours. So that is the spirit in which we have been studying the yama and niyama together. In January, we talked about ahimsa, or nonviolence, non-harm, and in February, we moved on to satya, or truth. Again, ahimsa means nonviolence or non-harm, but it's not just an absence of harm. It's also active kindness and care and compassion for yourself and for your community. And it also means speaking out when harm is being done. Satya is the second yama, meaning truth. It follows ahimsa or non-harm. So when we tell the truth, we also need to pay attention to not causing harm when we are speaking our truth. Satya also involves deep listening, active truth-seeking, loving speech, speaking truth to power, and seeking the truth of oneness. Even though it gets used in a kind of pat way oftentimes, there is the truth that we are all one and the strength of working together collectively to seek the truth. Specific to social justice is speaking truth to power. So what is speaking truth to power? Speaking truth to power is a phrase that means to stand up for what's right and to call out injustices, even when it's difficult. It can also mean to speak out against oppression or to demand change from people in positions of power. The phrase speaking truth to power is credited to Bayard Rustin, a civil rights movement leader. When to speak truth to power? There are many instances of speaking truth to power, and that can be in your personal life or even your work life, in addition to your social justice work. Some examples include speaking truth to power when you see someone being bullied, when you hear racist, sexist, or homophobic comments, or any other type of discrimination, when you see people being dehumanized or stereotyped, when you see an injustice or a mistake, whether intentionally or unintentionally. An example of that could be by spreading misinformation or disinformation. When you see an organizational culture that needs to change. How to speak truth to power. Remember your yoga practice and to respond, not react. Your emotions will come up when the need arises to speak truth to power, and it's important that we respond without reacting. When you are speaking truth to power, frame your concerns in terms of what's best for the community or the organization. Explain why you think something is wrong and what the consequences of doing nothing could be. Remember to pick your battles. The opposition is intentionally trying to overwhelm us so that we shut down. So pick the few things that are really important to you and focus on those. Follow up to ensure the issue has been resolved. For example, it's really easy to send an automated email or phone call to your congressional representatives. However, they often don't get responded to. So follow up on those to make sure that they received it and that the issue has been addressed. And in addition to all of these, I would add to fact check and debunk misinformation and disinformation. Which leads us to the next section on misinformation and disinformation, recognizing and fact checking, and how to tell them apart. This is based on an infographic from the International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions on how to spot fake news. And the links to that are in the post comments or in the post itself, depending on where you're viewing this video. First, consider the source. Click away from the story to investigate the site, its mission, and its contact info. For a picture, you can try a reverse image search to find out where it was originally used and whether it's been altered. One way to check the source is to use the media bias chart from adsfontsmedia.com. They rank thousands of news sources, both for their bias, whether left, right, or unbiased, and also the news value and reliability from less reliable to more reliable. Headlines can be outrageous in an effort to get clicks, so read beyond the story. Beware of outrageous headlines, statements in all caps, and sensational images that are designed to get clicks. Read the full story and then investigate further. Check the author. Are they credible? Are they real? What's their background? What qualifications do they have, and how are they related to the topic they are writing about? Are there supporting sources? If so, judiciously click on those links. If you are pretty sure it is fake news, I would recommend not clicking on the links, but it's up to you. If you have a good virus scanner, then it may be okay to click on them. Otherwise, you can separately do a search engine search to find out if the supporting sources actually support the story and if they all are credible. Check the date. Reposting old news stories doesn't mean they're relevant to current events. Is it an old story? Check the date. So many times in social media, I get so upset about something someone did, and then I realized it's an article from like 4 years ago. So make sure it is current and relevant to what is going on today. Is it a joke? If it's too outlandish, it might be satire. Research the site and author to be sure. And the irony around this is that when we decided that we wanted to talk about satya, and that in particular we wanted to talk about misinformation and disinformation and how to figure out what the truth is, just a couple days later was when Facebook announced that they would no longer be fact-checking. And that led to a deluge of satire posts about Mark Zuckerberg being dead. He died of coronavirus and complications from sexually transmitted diseases, wrong locations, wrong dates, wrong ages. So there was quite a lot of satire poking fun at the fact that they said that they weren't fact-checking anymore. Check your own biases. If your own beliefs or values could affect your judgment, in yoga, this is part of our Svajaya practice, to take a close look at our biases and how they are influencing how we interact in the world. Ask the experts. Ask a librarian or consult a fact-checking site. One of my favorites for a long time has been Snopes.com, and factcheck.org and politifact.com were the fact-checking experts that Facebook had previously contracted with. So factcheck.org and politifact.com still exist. They're still fact-checking everything. It's not being automatically applied to posts on social media. So you can still go do your own manual fact check, and if you are so inclined, help them out with a donation since they no longer have those contracts. So what's the difference between misinformation and disinformation? Misinformation is something that could have been an honest mistake, but it's nonetheless an error. Disinformation, however, is spread intentionally to cause harm. So misinformation just means someone was mistaken, but the mistake carried through and went viral anyway. Disinformation is designed to cause confusion and cause harm. And going back to the first point about seeing if images have been altered, also watch for AI-generated fakes. As AI continues to evolve, it can be tricky to tell what is real and what is fake. Crisper, cleaner, clearer images, voice cloning is extremely accurate. However, you can watch for distortions in areas around the hands, fingers, and eyes. These parts of the body typically have irregularities in AI-generated content, especially eyes not blinking properly. Also, watch for voice and facial expressions to not line up properly. And those tips were taken from techtarget.com. And again, the link is in the comments or in the post where you found this video. So how do you respond? How do you know whether to post or repost? I mean, it's entirely up to you, but the first thing is it true? Fact check it. If it's not true, don't repost it. And I would say even don't respond to it other than to give a very simple indication that it is not true and you determine that using which source. And then beyond that, is it helpful and is it kind? Because if we are truly practicing yoga in all aspects of our life, and ahimsa is one of our first rules or guidelines, then is it true? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Are we not causing harm? Are we contributing to care for ourselves and our community by responding and reposting? That's everything today. Let's keep in touch. Please feel free to reach out to me by email, socials. You can reach me through my website. I'd love to hear from you and find out what this means to you and how you would like to keep working together. Bye for now.